No one has ever said, hey, I saw John Jenkins today, and it was average. That never happened. I lived in Maine for over 14 years, and I'd never gone to the Marshall Point's lighthouse, famous lighthouse. It was shown in the movie Forrest Gump. So there were 2 or 3 people up on the lighthouse itself, and so we decided my family to wait until they finished up, and then we would go out. And then all of a sudden, James Reese, my hero! He was the one up on the lighthouse. I come to Maine, he's at the bank game, he's at the, I go there for the first time in 40 years, he's there, he called John that day, so we came down, we laughed, and we laughed some more, and we took some photos quickly, and he never told me why I was there, but, but what a bookend is. John Jenkins has power and glory. We felt it then, always will. May God bless you all for being here. Bless Anne for all she is and has given and experienced with John. Let's share those stories now and forever about him. Thank you.
What kind of jump-started things was when we knew that it was near, and I was in the hospital with John, and he had tears coming down his cheeks, and he said, "But my story isn't finished yet." And at that time, it was just so, of course, so very sad, and I shared that with some people. And if you look around this weekend, and the bridge, and the book, and the scholarship fund, his story isn't finished. And it's continuing to go on. All these things are building his legacy and keeping his story going. So I say his story doesn't need to be finished. After my husband died, John would show up. And just those 2 words, I think that's what he would teach kids, he would teach teenagers, adults, just show up. And John walked the walk, and he talked the talk. He didn't just have hollow words. He would be at my house throwing 2 cords of wood in my basement. Or he would show up to snow blow after a storm. When we went out to lunch, you had to plan the day for it, because you'd be sitting in a local restaurant, and every 5 minutes there would be someone coming up to shake John's hand. "Are you Mr. Jenkins?" And he would always say, "Do I owe you money?" And then he would go in, and it would be someone who he had inspired 20 years prior, and they never forgot. There was a lot of different facets of John's life. And it shows how once you met John Jenkins, no matter the circumstances, you never forgot him. I'd like to share with you things that you may not know about John Jenkins. For example, John was an Eagle Scout, and he was very serious about that. He always supported scouting, and he credits his mother for getting him into scouting and karate. And he came all the way up through the ranks and became an Eagle Scout. He also was a Mason. Thank you, Harold. And John wanted to go up through the ranks all the way to becoming a Shriner. And I felt like I was privileged because I was one of the few who got away with calling him Teddy, besides his family. There was also John's very, very favorite, Earth, Wind, and Fire. Or as John would say, Earth, Wind,
So, how do you measure friendship? How do you define brotherhood? How do you weigh the depths and gifts given by someone who has such a rich, wealthy personality and love for others? Years after I moved to California, John flew out to LA for my wedding, along with my friend Marcus Bruce. John gave me some welcome advice to calm my nerves. Basically, he said, "Don't take my advice. Live and enjoy your life. Be thankful for the blessings that come. Confront the challenges that you have to face." At that time, John had numerous rules for living, some that emanated from martial arts training. Two have remained with me over the years. Rule number one, always look good. Rule number two, always expect the unexpected. With such depth of wisdom, I had to ask John to be godfather to my son Derek, which John agreed to do, sealing the connection we would maintain over the years and beyond the miles. Whenever we were on the phone talking, we picked up where we left off. Whenever we had the opportunity to visit one another, he always sealed the time together with his bone-crushing bear hugs that confirmed a truth that we both felt when he said, "Love you, brother." His friendship was an oasis in a desert of uncertainty, circling those powers that dictated what was true. And I never doubted his love and integrity, only marveled at the things that he could do. His support gave rise to me leaping high towards visions that I worked to achieve. We launched our dreams into a colorblind sky and soared to heights that few could believe. And thinking of the contours of brotherhood, the challenges that sought to break us down, we pushed ahead because we understood we sought goals that were elusive but profound. Our friendship was a refuge in a hostile world. We battled together against emotional walls. Our bonds was as unique as a glistening pearl. A friendship distinct and uniquely magical. Thank you.
He would just, and I know I'm not the only one that heard this, but John would just say, "Be here now. Just be here now." And if you take that one moment and be here now, all will be okay. So we had to just kind of be here now.
Is John the most awesome person you know? Well, this means many things, including at those same karate demonstrations. He could do the splits, you know. Then he would face you, having done the split, and then, well, face you in the splits, you know, he would put his nose on the ground, and then he would take his feet and turn them down to the ground. If you saw it once, you would never believe it or never forget it, you know. Awesomeness, you know, included his accomplishments in karate level, world level. Awesomeness includes how, with all of the muscular power and martial arts know-how, he was settled into a steeped, you know, control of all it, as the activity and sport requires. John, indeed, and very notably, had a sincerity was giant. Sometimes he hid that under his many talents in public displays. What I mean is he could read you from afar and already have a plan on how he was going to address you. He was good and great that way. I liked how many times he greeted me with "Goose," the Japanese greeting. Then he would look at me for a response. He was ahead of me, and in those moments he was preparing the table for a deep conversation, and we had many. In the interview that John completed for the job he achieved at Maine, having charmed us, I decided that, you know, after he gave his great interview, that I would, talk to him for a few more moments. And I said, you know, that thing you did for the team in college was incredible. So he looks up at me slowly and says, "What are you talking about?" So I said, "Well, you know, the warm-up dance you did to the team, Kung Fu fighting." He took a long pause, looked down at the ground, looked back up at me, And I took a short pause and I looked at him and I thought, and I said, what? You only did it once? He said, yeah. He said that, at dinner time they got some money together and pushed him to do this. He didn't want to do it, he agreed. And then he went out and he did it. And he said he thought it went pretty well, but the team lost, so they didn't do it again. So my team and I are responsible for having rid the world of one of the greatest experiences anybody's ever seen.
People will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. And John, more than anybody else, made us feel better. And that is why we will never forget John Jenkins. Yesterday, the cities and the two mayors hosted an official dedication ceremony for the John Jenkins Memorial Bridge. It's an historic bridge spanning the Androscoggin River and bridging the Twin Cities. And that was the brainchild of our two mayors, Mayor Care and Mayor Levesque. I'd like them to stand to be recognized. A committee of friends and classmates has been working diligently for the past year to keep both his spirit and his legacy alive. Their efforts include a scholarship fund, which recently reached the goal of $50,000. And continuing this trend to honor John, Bates College has recently contributed $50,000 to the John Jenkins Scholarship Fund.
Thank you. I'm just going to take about 5 minutes to share a few things about stories about John. We hear a lot of John stories today, right? A few stories about John, also our Benjamin Mason Black Alumni Society and our award. As a kid, I'm the secretary of the Benjamin Mason Black Alumni Society, and also was on the track team with John from when I got to Bates in 1974 until we finished in 74, 75. We spent some good time together at the Afro Am. One thing that I had to stop though, after I got to Bates, was attending his karate demonstrations. How many people here went to his karate demonstrations? Okay. Well, you might remember. So sometimes we had them in the campus gym, and so John would come, but I had to stop going. So he'd be up at the campus gym, and he would come out, and he would. The Bates students would be in the stands, and he would come out, and he had his gi on, and he would do his thing, and he would stretch. He would go into his split, but then he would take his gi off, and under his gi was the most magnificent body you could ever see. All the college girls swooned. After that, the guys, we couldn't get a date. So there's my little John Jenkins story, another one a little bit later.
And my uncle was a voracious reader and motivational speaker. Speaking for him was a way of effecting change. Through attitudes, activism, policy initiatives, his pep talk series was how the spoken word changed the lives of people in his surroundings. I call this exercising his us. We always knew Teddy was home when we heard him, his characteristic us. Us, which in Japanese was shortened from the word Ashi Shinobi. Ashi means push, Shinobi means to endure. even when being pushed. To push against the resistance of sometimes your own physical and mental limitations is what us means.
I consider myself extremely fortunate to count John Jenkins as one of my closest and oldest friends. I want to thank Ann Parker for giving me the opportunity to share some memories of John. John wore many hats, as we all know, and was many things to many people. Sensei, teacher, Tai Chi instructor, civil rights advocate, mayor, state senator, celebrity, justice of the peace, senior advocate, and more. While we're here to memorialize John and his numerous accomplishments, I want to celebrate who he was as a friend. I selected the word friend to describe John because friends are people you can trust. Friends celebrate each other's achievements, and friends are there for you when you need them most. This describes my 47-year friendship with John Jenkins. Let's go back to 1973 when I arrived at Bates College. Early on, I knew who John Jenkins was. His name was bandied about on campus with much awe and reverence. The campus craze that year was streaking. Enough said. Anyone who knew John can figure out the rest, and the rest, true or false, is part of Bates' urban legend. John loved being in the limelight. He was always center stage at campus dances. The music would start up, you'd hear John yell something, and the crowd would part the way the Red Sea parted for Moses in the Ten Commandments. The Jackson 5 released their song Dancin' Machine, and Michael Jackson introduced the robot moves. John was the first person I ever saw perform the robot. But what made it exquisite was the way he artfully incorporated karate into his performance. Karate was to play a significant role in his life. With John's untimely passing, we lost a force of nature and a remarkable human being. I save and listen periodically to his last voice message, and I smile when I hear his zest for life, his energy, and his passion. Rest in peace, my friend.
The power of John's love for our community, its people, and its possibilities was and is palpable. John was a humble leader who understood that leadership is far more than strength and determination. John knew that good leadership is also about kindness, heart, and service. John encouraged people to find where they can be of service to move equality for all, democracy, and our community forward. He was and remains a true gift to our community. Thank you all for being here today as we celebrate and honor John Jenkins. May we all love our community as he did, and may we honor him today and always by working hard, living his values, and doing what is right. Thank you.
A lot of things have been said about John. A lot of things have been said about what he's done. I'm not going to do that tonight. What I want to talk about tonight is something that really sticks with me, and that's John's legacy. But more importantly, how do you define legacy? Legacy is defined as the mark you made upon your community, the world, during the time you're here. I think John's legacy is going to be so much greater than what he's done. It's about what his spirit is going to continue to do for a long time. I don't want to just remember John as if he's gone, because he's not. He's here. His name is on a bridge, absolutely, but his spirit is eternal. And his passion that gives our endeavors meaning and purpose. Success is not by chance, but by calculation. Success is not promised, but planned. His legacy will keep echoing throughout generations here in this area, throughout the state and the country. It might affect an 8-year-old boy in Poland Community School in the gym who didn't have any friends, spoke a little funny and looked a little funny, and then all of a sudden he had John Jenkins come and give a great speech that resonated with him. Probably forgot all about that speech and what was said over the course of the next 30 or so years. But those lessons stayed with him, stayed with that kid. And hopefully that kid can actually live up to
see the greatness of John Jenkins, or even just a little bit of that. It can help guide those decisions. That kid was me. And I know, and I have to remind myself all the time, am I doing what John would do? Am I living my life with that passion? And if you don't have passion, well, you're not going to get anything done. I think John taught us all that. So I'm very, very pleased to be here. I'm very pleased to honor John's future legacy and what he's going to be doing for generations of people here in this area and the leadership that he inspires. So thank you very much for being here. It's my honor, it's my pleasure, and may his memory be eternal.
I really hope when you walk across the bridge, you feel the spirit of John. We will land, and we will feel that spirit that brought us all together. And that spirit will live on for generations to come. In the words of Governor Janet Mills, we are claiming him for Lewiston. We are claiming him for Auburn. And we are claiming him for Maine. And I might add, his Bates College friends are claiming him for Bates College. May his legacy live on for many generations. We all miss his tremendous spirit. And for Senator Angus King, he earned the respect of all those fortunate enough to fall into his orbit. And all of us were fortunate enough to fall into John's orbit. At this time, I'd like to recognize the elected officials from Lewiston and Auburn. I'll let anybody from the legislative delegation, anybody who's running for public office, and thank them for having a heart and the courage to serve during these difficult times. Please rise and be recognized.